name's Phoenix Brown, and I have been in the West Bank community since before the library started. And at the time, I was co-owner of the Westlake Picayune. And I remember we put in one of our columns, wouldn't it be great if we had a library out here? And then pretty soon after that, I don't think that was what started it, but I think it was people were beginning to think that would be a really good thing for this community. And it was Peggy Graham's mother, Margaret Drake, and Doris Walker at the start of it. And they started bringing us articles to publish in the paper about it and talk about the bake sales and all the ideas they had for raising money. And they had some real inventive ones, which one was about red balloons. I can't remember exactly what they did. And they had a thermometer thing that would say how much money they had raised in it and their goal. And they opened over there what is now, I guess, Chase Bank. And I don't remember what it was then. It was something else. But they had the top floor up there, and they just started bringing in books. People were donating books, and it just took off. There was such a pin-up demand for it out here. And we just ran story after story after story. And of course, and you remember probably when Beth Fox became involved. I don't know how, I think it was almost immediately. But she was the driving force, absolutely. I mean, the volunteers were incredible. I guess she was probably a volunteer when she started. No, but they worked so hard. But Beth was the driver. I mean, she was just relentless about trying to think of ways that people could help and inspiring them to help. The amazing amount of community support she got from it, and it got kind of funny because it got where if you see her in the grocery store, you kind of duck because you didn't want her to see you, because she'd come up with some great idea for you to help and you couldn't turn it down because it was such a great idea. And then we'd sold the Picayune by that time. This next chapter, as far as I'm concerned, with the library. And Beth had asked me to serve on the library board. I guess it was an advisory board at the time. And I think she had some ulterior motives in that. Because, I mean, she knew that I'd been real involved with the community and did a lot for the community and loved the community. And I think that had something to do with it, but she also knew that my husband was a lobbyist. And she wanted desperately to have some idea to remove the bake sale initiatives because it was getting kind of worn out. I mean, people were kind of tired of it, and they'd done so much for so long. And so she knew that a constant stream of income would be needed. So I had been on the board for not too many months, and she said, I wonder if your husband could help us get some law passed at the legislature that would help provide that constant stream. And he was happy to do it. He loved doing it. And we kind of worked together. He was the brains, and I was the leg man. And I would go visit all the legislators' offices and talk to their aides and talk about how important it was. And it was unique, and this was my husband's idea, to have a sales tax, because the property tax barrier had already been reached, and so that was an impossibility, except in some segments. It couldn't have worked in Westlake Hills because they weren't at the cap, but everybody else was. And so he came up with the property tax idea, and he wasn't even sure it was constitutional in the beginning, so he had to go through all these hoops to make sure that that was going to work out okay. And then he wrote the bill, and got Sherry Greenberg, who is our local representative, to carry the bill. And Terry Keel helped on it too. So then we started the process, and you have to have all the hearings and go talk to everybody and get everybody on board. And Steve Woolens was chair of the committee that was going to have the hearings on it, and he was not real positive about it at all. He just thought it was another tax, and that we would create duplicates somewhere, which, as it turned out, did, and it was a very good thing for all the communities that have been able to access this law as well. But he tried to get it put off and put off so it wouldn't be set on the legislative calendar. And my husband kept pushing and pushing on it, and so it was on the calendar the last day, the next to last day of the session, but it was down, way down on the list, and we thought it was over. And then Arlene Wagabuth, who was a legislator, she had a point of order that she brought up that had all the first 2 pages of bills taken off. And so ours moved up. And they passed it unanimously when it got to the floor, but it was such a surprise and a stroke of luck. It was just God, I guess.
This is a picture of Beth Fox looking at the TV when the legislature was in session, and it says third and final passage of the bill that created library districts in the state, and she looks really happy. We were all happy. We were jumping up and down in the gallery. It was so exciting because it was so unexpected that it actually passed. This is a picture of the footprint of the Laura's Library, and I guess I don't know whose idea. I assume it was Beth's, to have people stand around the edge of it so that they could take an overhead shot of where the footprint would be. And it's so symbolic because of all the people that were standing there to make all of it possible. This is a picture of the First Lady, Laura Bush, and Dick Brown, and me, and we're standing in front of the Dick Brown reference desk. And that was a special honor they gave to him for all the work he had done on so many stages of the library. And it is such a source of pride because we take our grandchildren there and go, here's your grandfather's name right there. So that was an exciting day.
Oh, I could not be prouder. I could not be prouder. And it goes without saying that the work he did for the library, the legislature, was pro bono. And I thought that was because the sessions were so incredibly busy and stressful. And so for him to take the time to do that and give it all the attention it needed was a big, call it a sacrifice, because he would never think of it like that. But he was very proud and excited and thrilled when it passed. There were so many people that said, this will never happen. This will never happen. And so I think he's helped many things with dealing with the city and some kind of property rights and issues in this library and the new library. And I think he's enjoyed using his skills and his experience to be able to help the library and the community. And there have been a couple of controversial races when he had an opponent, or there was an opponent, and that just made him more determined to stay on there and keep working at it. So, and I think he's enjoyed watching it progress, because it's going to be big steps along the way. And the fact that it's gone statewide, I think, it's been a real pleasure for him too. I was thrilled, and I still have my little medal, and I'm so proud of it. I'm proud of it and most anything I've accomplished. And it was this hard work of compiling the things you have to compile to enter it in there. And I was terrified. I hate public speaking. I remember that. And Beth was like, you can do it, you can do it. And it should have been shared with my husband, actually, because he did as much as I did on it. But I've kind of been there for a long time, but it was quite an honor. And I grew up, one of my childhood memories is in our little neighborhood library. And I spent so much time there. And I think that was why it was so important to me to do what we could to get this one started and to be honored by that association. Thrilled.